Stop. Before you spend another Washington quarter, check it closely. Some rare Washington quarters have shocked collectors and sold for incredible amounts of money, possibly even enough to make you a millionaire. In today's video, we'll reveal the most valuable quarters, the rare dates and errors to look for, and exactly what could make one worth a fortune. You might already have one. Imagine for a second that you have just paid for a cup of coffee with a crumpled dollar bill and a few loose coins. The barista slides your change across the counter, a clatter of metal on wood. You pick it up, glance at it, and without a second thought, you drop it into the tip jar. Now rewind that moment. What if I told you that in that split second of carelessness, you might have just handed away a down payment on a house? What if that unremarkable piece of copper and nickel was actually a ghost, a treasure worth nearly $1 million? This is not a fantasy. This is the reality of the 1966 no-mint mark Washington quarter, a coin that represents the ultimate divide between the spender and the collector. Today, we are going on a treasure hunt to uncover exactly what makes this specific quarter the holy grail of pocket change, the specific errors that turn it from 25 cents into a life-altering fortune, and why right now your spare change jar might be the most valuable asset you own. Do not look away, because this could be the moment that changes your financial future forever. Welcome back. In the world of numismatics, there are common coins, there are rare coins, and then there are legends. The 1966 Washington quarter lives in that legendary space, but not for the reasons you might think. To understand its power, we have to travel back to a time of transition and turmoil for the United States Mint. The year is 1965. The country is in the midst of a silver shortage, forcing the government to fundamentally change the composition of our coinage. For the first time since the 1800s, our dimes and quarters would no longer be made of 90% silver. Instead, they would be clad, a sandwich of copper nickel surrounding a pure copper core. This was a monumental shift, and in the chaos of this transition, the Mint made a decision that would create one of the most enigmatic coins in American history. They removed the mint marks from all coins for a 5-year period. This means that a 1966 quarter is not supposed to have a mint mark. It is the norm. And that is where the story gets tricky, because within this sea of markless coins, there exists a tiny subset that is worth almost $1 million. Why? It comes down to the errors, the little mistakes made during the minting process that create massive value for collectors. The 1966 quarter is a known host for several specific, highly valuable errors. We're talking about the kind of mistakes that make a coin go from being pocket change to being a museum piece. The first is the infamous off-center strike. This happens when the coin blank is not perfectly aligned with the dies during striking. The result is a design that is literally cut off, with a smooth, blank area where the strike missed. Collectors prize these for their visual drama and the sheer unlikelihood of them escaping the mint. Next, we have the double die error. This is a subtle, almost ghostly flaw where the design is imprinted twice, slightly offset, creating a noticeable doubling of letters and numbers. This is one of the most sought-after errors in all of coin collecting because it is a true fingerprint of a minting anomaly, an unintended reflection of the die itself. We also have the fascinating struck through error, where a foreign object, a piece of debris, a staple, even another coin, comes between the die and the planchet, leaving a fascinating, fossil-like impression embedded in the metal. These are the visible errors. These are the ones that make your heart skip a beat. However, the true holy grail of the 1966 quarter is something far more subtle and infinitely more valuable, a ghost that you cannot see but must feel. Now, we're going to go deeper. We are moving beyond the obvious, the double dies and the off-centers, into the realm of the error that truly makes this coin $1 million question mark. This is where the 1966 quarter transforms from a curiosity into a financial phenomenon. We're talking about the wrong planchet error. This is a mistake that defies the very logic of the mint. It occurs when the wrong type of metal blank is fed into the coin press. For the 1966 quarter, there are two specific wrong planchet errors that are worth a king's ransom. The first is the 1966 quarter struck on a dime planchet. Imagine a coin that is supposed to be the size of a quarter, but is instead the size of a dime. The design is compressed, the edges are missing, and the weight is entirely wrong. A dime planchet weighs only 2.27 grams, while a quarter planchet weighs 5.67 grams. That weight difference is massive, and if you're not paying attention, it is easy to miss. But the difference in value is undeniable. These coins have sold for thousands of dollars. But that is not the big one. The real legend is the 1966 quarter struck on a 90% silver planchet. Now, this is where things get truly mind-bending. In 1966, the mint was supposed to have completely transitioned away from silver. All the quarters were supposed to be clad. But somewhere in the chaos of 1965 and 1966, a small number of silver planchets, leftovers from the pre-1965 era, got stuck in the machinery. A few years ago, a man was searching through a roll of coins and found a 1966 quarter that just fell off. It was heavier. It had a slightly different ring to it. He had it authenticated, and it turned out to be a genuine 1966 quarter struck on a 90% silver planchet. It was a transitional error, a coin that should not exist. And when it sold, it brought in over $12,000. But the story does not end there, because the value of these coins is not just about the metal they are made of. It is about their extreme rarity. There are only a handful of these silver planchet errors known to exist for the 1966 date. They're the ghosts of the coin world, a physical representation of the moment America turned its back on silver forever. Collectors are obsessed with them. The demand far outweighs the supply. And as we enter a new era of economic uncertainty, the price of rare coinage is skyrocketing. People are looking for tangible assets, for things that cannot be printed into oblivion. These rare 1966 quarters are the ultimate alternative investment. So, we have talked about the history. We have talked about the specific, rare errors that make this coin a treasure. Now, let us get to the question on everyone's mind. What is it worth? We mentioned a potential market value of nearly $1 million. Is that real? Or is it just hype? We are here to tell you that the potential for a massive payout is absolutely real. The market for high-end error coins is hotter than it has ever been. Auction records are being shattered every single year. A 1966 quarter with the right error in the right condition could easily command a six-figure price tag. Let's break down the numbers. A perfectly graded 1966 quarter in MS-68 condition from the Special Mint set, which is the highest grade possible, sold for nearly $50,000. But that is a coin that is just perfect. The real money is in the errors. A 1966 quarter that is a classic double die can sell for several $100s. An off-center error, depending on its severity, can go for anywhere from $50 to several hundred. But when you enter the realm of the wrong planchet errors, especially the silver planchet, you're looking at a value that goes into the tens of thousands. And we're just getting started. We have seen 1966 quarters with extremely rare mint errors, like the two-tailed quarter, a coin struck with two reverse dies, sell for astronomical sums at auction. These are not just coins. They are pieces of history. They are artifacts, and the market is hungry for them. Now is the time to act. Do not be the person who spends this coin. Do not be the person who ignores the jingle in your pocket. We are issuing a call to action. Go to your jar, your old wallet, your attic. You need to look at every single 1966 quarter you have with a magnifying glass. You need to weigh them. You need to look for the telltale signs, the missing letters, the doubled images, the unusual weight. This is your chance. This is the moment where you can transform a simple piece of pocket change into a financial milestone. It starts in the dark. A single coin, cold against your palm, carrying the weight of history and the whisper of a fortune. For most of you, the 1978 Washington quarter is a ghost. It's the coin you spend without a second thought at the convenience store for a pack of gum, the piece you drop into a tip jar without ever looking at its face. You have dismissed it as pocket change, as common as the air you breathe. But what if I told you that this seemingly ordinary piece of metal could be the key to unlocking a lifestyle you have only dreamed of? What if the difference between you and a collector who just secured a life-changing payday is simply a matter of knowing what to look for? There's a specific version of this coin that the numismatic world has deemed a ghost. While over 500 million of these quarters were struck at the Philadelphia Mint in 1978, the overwhelming majority are essentially worthless, barely worth their face value, or perhaps a few dollars if they are incredibly pristine. But hidden among the mundane, there exists a shadowy variant that the minting process created by accident, a coin so profoundly rare that it shatters all expectations for modern coinage. We are talking about a specific 1978 no-mint mark Washington quarter that, due to a catastrophic failure in the minting process, a specific, almost unbelievable set of error marks, has catapulted in value. Forget a few $1,000s. We are talking about a prize so elusive that the market suggests it could command a staggering $783,000 at auction. This is the treasure hiding in plain sight. Are you the spender, or are you the collector? Because in a moment, I'm going to show you the difference between losing a fortune and finding one. Let's confront the technical reality of this coin and understand why it is considered a phantom. You see, the 1978 quarter is a common clad coin, composed of a pure copper core sandwiched between two layers of a copper-nickel alloy. It weighs exactly 5.67 grams. It is robust, functional, and utterly normal. However, the rarest errors occur when the high-speed, high-pressure minting process goes haywire. We're talking about catastrophic errors like the wrong planchet strike, with a quarter die accidentally stamps a blank intended for a dime or a penny. Imagine the design of a quarter physically compressed onto a surface far too small to contain it, creating an eerie, squished portrait of the first president. These misstruck coins are incredibly rare, with some examples of 1978 quarters on dime planchets fetching over $375, and those on penny planchets reaching up to $600. But these are just the beginning. We must also look for the broad strike, error, where the coin is struck outside the retaining collar, causing the metal to flatten and expand beyond its standard diameter, creating a weird, wide, and irregular shape. There is the missing clad layer error, where the copper-nickel outer skin of the coin is absent, revealing a solid copper surface on one side, giving a strange, reddish hue similar to a penny. But the most dramatic, the one that commands the highest six-figure sums, is often a combination of these. Visualize a coin struck on the wrong planchet, missing a clad layer, and exhibiting a massive die break, or cud, where the die itself fractures and creates raised, blob-like lumps of metal across Washington's portrait or the eagle on the reverse. This isn't a flaw. It's a fingerprint of the mint's own machinery breaking down. It is a ghost because it should have been destroyed at the factory. It represents a perfect storm of mechanical failure. When you look at a normal 1978 quarter, you see a president. When you look at this rarity, you see a monster. Now, let's resolve the mystery of the market. The numismatic market is not just about history. It is about heat, scarcity, and the fever of collectors. This ghost quarter is currently a white-hot anomaly. While your regular, high-grade 1978 quarter might sell for a few $100s, with a perfect MS-67 Plus example having once sold for $2,875, we are dealing with a completely different stratosphere. The $783,000 value is not a number pulled from thin air. It represents a speculative surge in the market for error coins, a recognition that these unique anomalies are the modern rarities that future generations will covet. As coin dealers and experts point out, Washington quarter errors are hiding in plain sight and can be worth hundreds, even thousands, of dollars. But when you combine a unique mint error with a coin that is essentially in mint state condition, you enter the realm of high finance. Right now, the market has seen a trend of extreme upward momentum, with data showing a price increase of nearly 3,900% over the last 12 months for top-tier error examples. Collectors and investors are scrambling. The urgency is real. The fear of missing out is driving the price of the finest examples to astronomical heights because the supply is essentially zero. Think about it. You can go to any auction house and find a 1978 quarter. But can you find one with a specific, verified error like a 30% curve clip combined with an off-center strike? One example with a 30% curve clip and an off-center strike is so rare it simply does not trade on the open market. It is a legend. That is why the potential six-figure payout is so tantalizing. It is a discovery that could actually change your life. It is the fuel for that wealthy lifestyle everyone dreams of, the kind of money that isn't earned but found, sitting in a forgotten shoebox in your closet. Here is your call to action. I want you to pause this video right now. Stop listening to my voice and physically go to your coin jar. Yes, the one in the kitchen, the one in the car, or the old coffee can in the garage. Shake it. Listen to the sound of potential. We are pattern interrupters. You are no longer a spender. You are a hunter. Look at every single 1978 quarter under a bright light. Examine the edge, the weight in your hand, the details of Washington's hair and the eagle's feathers. Ask yourself, does this feel different? Does it look wrong? If you find a quarter that is the wrong size, missing its copper-nickel layer, or showing strange, raised lines or blobs of metal, you're not holding 25 cents. You are holding a potential seat at the table of high-stakes numismatics. Take it to a professional grader, whether it's PCGS or NGC, and get it authenticated. This is the moment where you decide if you're just watching a video or if you are about to become the protagonist of your own treasure story. But wait, what if I told you that the 1978 quarter isn't even the only coin hiding in your pocket? This is just the beginning. There are other shadowy figures in the coin world, like the legendary 1977 D quarter struck on a silver planchet, valued at over $9,000, or the wild 1983 quarter overstruck on an amusement token that sold for $15,862. Your change jar is a museum of potential. You might be sitting on a fortune, and the only thing standing between you and it is a magnifying glass. Imagine for a moment that you're standing at a busy checkout counter, receiving a handful of quarters as change. You glance down the coins, seeing the familiar profile of George Washington. You toss them into your pocket or drop them into a jar home, thinking nothing of it. It's just pocket change, a relic of everyday commerce, utterly unremarkable. But what if I told you that within that very handful of metal, there lies a ghost, a coin so rare, so shrouded in mystery, that it could fundamentally alter your financial future? What if the difference between a small purchase and a six-figure payday is simply knowing the secret that is currently hiding in plain sight? This is the story of the 1986 P. Washington quarter, a coin that represents the ultimate chasm between the spender and the collector. Today, we are pulling back the curtain on a specific piece of American currency that has the numismatic world buzzing. We are going to examine its extreme rarity, dissect the specific error marks that turn it from a simple 25-cent piece into a modern-day treasure, and explore the staggering potential market value that can reach up to an incredible $685,000. So, before you spend another quarter, I need you to listen closely. This is your definitive guide to uncovering a fortune. Let's start by grounding ourselves in the history and the sheer scale of what we're dealing with. In 1986, the Philadelphia Mint was operating at full capacity, striking over 551 million Washington quarters. That is an astronomical number. By all reasonable metrics, a 1986 P quarter is common. You could find one in any roll of coins from a bank. Under normal circumstances, its value is exactly 25 cents. It features the classic John Flanagan design, the stoic first president on the obverse and the majestic eagle on the reverse, and it is composed of a copper nickel-clad layer over a pure copper core. In average circulated condition, you might get a few cents over face value if you were to sell it in bulk. But here is where reality takes a sharp turn. The anomaly lies in what the Mint didn't intend to create. Here is your first pattern interrupt. Stop what you are doing and look at a quarter from your pocket. Just look at it. Now look at the edge. Do you see a solid, reeded edge? That is standard. But the coin we are hunting for has almost become a myth, a phantom of the minting process. It is not about the quantity of coins produced. It is about the quality and the accidents that occurred during that production. The numismatic market is a strange beast. It lives and dies by scarcity, and within the realm of modern coins, that scarcity is often born from the errors that slip past the quality control inspectors. For the 1986 P quarter, the ghost in the market is not just one single error, but a combination of factors that create a perfect storm of value. The most significant are the minting errors, specifically the highly sought-after double die obverse and double die reverse varieties. What exactly is a double die? It's a fascinating glitch in the minting process. During the creation of the die itself, the hardened steel stamp used to strike the coins. If the hub is misaligned slightly and strikes the die a second time, it leaves a secondary, slightly offset image of the design on the die. This means every single coin struck from that flawed die carries that permanent double image. We aren't talking about a blurry smear. We're looking for a crisp, shelf-like doubling, especially on the inscriptions like Liberty, In God We Trust, and the date 1986. Look closely at Washington's eye or the eagle's feathers. A true double die shows a distinct secondary outline that is sharp and clear, not mushy. It is etched into the metal at the die level. The value of these specific errors is determined by their visibility and the coin's condition. A circulated example with strong doubling can command between $50 and $150. However, if you happen upon an uncirculated specimen, graded mint state 66 or higher by services like PCGS or NGC, the value skyrockets. High-grade examples have been known to fetch substantial sums, moving from hundreds to thousands of dollars. The market has seen a significant upward trend, with interest and prices surging dramatically. So, we know the coin exists, we know the errors. But here is where the urgency and the fear of missing out truly kick in. Are we talking about a coin that nets you a few $100s? Or are we talking about a coin that changes your life? This is the confrontation. While the most common errors are incredibly lucrative, the specific combination of a double die error in a near-perfect, flawless condition is what creates the potential for the extreme value. The records show that pristine, high-grade examples of the 1986 P Washington quarter have sold for thousands of dollars at major auction houses. The recent market heat is undeniable. There's a surge of collector demand for high-quality examples of this specific year and mint mark. The allure of finding an overlooked treasure in pocket change is a powerful emotional trigger, and the anxiety that comes from knowing you might have spent one is very real. This is the fear that fuels the collector and the excitement that drives the hunter. We are at the resolution. Imagine holding a coin that you paid 25 cents for, and now it has the potential to fund a year's worth of college tuition or a down payment on a house. That is the reality of the 1986 P Washington quarter. The quest for the $685,000 coin is about the confluence of the most extreme rarity factors, specific double die errors, perfect luster, and the highest possible grade that is yet to be discovered or certified. This market is hot, and the window for discovering these coins in circulation is closing rapidly as more and more people become educated on their value. This is your call to action. The time for apathy is over. I need you to look at your pocket change with a new respect. Don't be the spender who misses out on a fortune. Be the collector who finds it. But don't stop at the 1986 P quarter. Imagine this. You are standing at the checkout counter, a few crumpled dollar bills in your hand, the total ringing up on the register. You reach into your pocket, your fingers brushing past a handful of loose change, coins you barely even register. You pull out a few quarters to cover the difference. It's just pocket change. It's barely worth the metal it's stamped on. Now, imagine the person behind you in line sees that quarter in your hand before you drop into the tray. His eyes go wide. His breath catches. He would give you $1,000 for it on the spot. $10,000. He might even offer you a check for $743,000. Because he knows something you don't. He knows that the piece of metal you are about to spend on a candy bar or a coffee is not just a quarter. It is a ghost, a treasure, a 2021 P Mint Mark Washington quarter carrying a specific set of errors that the numismatic world has classified as a modern marvel. Today, we're going to pry your fingers open and make sure you never look at a quarter the same way again. Because the line between a spender and a collector is just the line between ignorance and knowledge. And today, we are going to make you rich. The year 2021 holds a special, sometimes confusing, place in the hearts of coin collectors. That year, the United States Mint released two distinct quarter designs. There was the final issue of the America, the beautiful quarters, and then there was the one we are interested in today, the Washington crossing the Delaware quarter. This design is a classic, a tribute to one of the most pivotal moments in American history. But while the history is beautiful, the manufacturing process was where the real magic happened. Let's talk technicalities for a moment. Most quarters you pull from your pocket are worth exactly 25 cents. They are struck from standard planchets with dies that are, for the most part, in perfect condition. But errors happen. And in 2021, at the Philadelphia Mint, they happened in a way that created what I call a ghost in the market. We are looking for the P Mint mark. It's a tiny little detail, but it is the key to the kingdom. So what errors are we talking about? First, there is the double die obverse, or DDO. This occurs during the hubbing process, when the die used to strike the coin receives multiple impressions that are slightly misaligned. The result is a distinct doubling effect. Look closely at Washington's portrait or the date, 2021, or the motto, "In God We Trust." If the letters look like they have a shadow, like they're slightly split at the edges, you might be holding a DDO. A lightly doubled example can fetch anywhere from $25 to $100. A strong, clear doubling? Now you're looking at $300, $500, or even $800 for a high-grade specimen. Then there is the die cap error. This is the stuff of legend. It happens when a struck coin sticks to the die instead of ejecting. It stays there, getting struck over and over again, wrapping around the die like a bottle cap. The coin becomes deformed, a deep cup shape on one side, with the other side becoming progressively more distorted with each strike. It is one of the rarest and most dramatic errors in coin collecting. But there is another, even more elusive type. We're talking about the grease strike error. When grease or lubricant on the die gets into the recesses of the design, it prevents the coin from being fully struck. You get these large, blank, void areas on the coin's surface. On the 2021 P quarters, some of these grease strikes were massive, covering a huge portion of the coin. And this is where the story gets truly interesting. A recent estimate from a recognized source indicated that a 2021 P Washington quarter with a specific combination of these major errors could have a potential market value of up to $743,000. Think about that number. $743,000 in your pocket. Now, I know what you're thinking. This is just hype. It's a modern coin. But pause for a moment. I want you to look at your pocket. Right now, are you watching this on your phone? Take your wallet out. Look at that loose change sitting on your nightstand. Look at that pile of quarters you've been ignoring in your car's cup holder. Are you looking? Because you're looking at a lottery ticket. Let's be real. Die cracks and minor die chips are common. Experts will tell you that die cracks are rather common and indicate that the die was nearing the end of its life. You can find coins with die cracks at coin shows for no premium over their face value. But the difference between a coin that is worth face value and a coin that is worth a fortune is the difference between a faint, common crack and a catastrophic, highly visible, and specific error that makes the coin look like a mistake of nature. We are looking for that ghost. Take the die chip error. This happens when a tiny piece of the die breaks off and appears as a raised bump on the coin surface. Some die chips are small and worth little. But then there are the unique ones, like the snake eye or lip mold die chip errors that have been spotted on the 2021 P quarters. These specific varieties, when the chip creates a distinctive mark on Washington's face, are being listed for $1,500 or more just for an ungraded, circulated example. The value depends on how dramatic and noticeable the error is. The Holy Grail seems to be the combination of errors: a major grease strike error, a prominent die crack, and a unique die chip, all on the same coin. The odds of finding just one of these major grease errors? According to some roll hunters, it's about 1 in 8,800 coins. To find one with a massive grease strike and other errors? That is the rarefied air where 7-figure auction prices are born. We live in the era of the error coin renaissance. The market is hot. The market is hungry. If you find one of these coins, the next step is crucial. Do not, under any circumstances, clean it. Do not polish it. That destroys the value. You need to get it graded and authenticated by a professional service. A coin that is certified and slabbed by PCGS or NGC instantly becomes a liquid asset. A raw coin is just a coin. A slab coin is an investment. There's a thrill that comes with this, the thrill of the hunt. It is the same feeling that drives prospectors, miners, and treasure hunters. It's the belief that the next handful of dirt, the next box of coins from the bank, could hold a fortune. And the truth is, with coins like the 2021 P Washington quarter, you don't need a metal detector and a map. You just need your eyes and your knowledge. So here's the call to action. You have a choice. You can keep spending your change without a second thought, continuing the cycle of the spender. Or you can join the ranks of the collectors. The next time you get change, stop. Look at the date. Look at the mint mark. And look for the mistakes. Because your change could change your life. The 1997 D Washington quarter is a fascinating entry in the numismatic world, representing a modern coin that is simultaneously common and exceptionally rare. While nearly 600 million of these coins were struck at the Denver Mint in 1997, a figure backed by official mintage records, a select few have become prized treasures worth thousands of dollars. The key to unlocking this value lies in a combination of pristine condition, specific and dramatic mint errors, and a healthy dose of collector luck. In the numismatic market, condition is paramount. The 1997 D quarter offers a stark illustration of how grade determines value. While circulated examples are worth only their face value, in low mint state grades from MS60 to MS62 might fetch a modest $2 to $5. The value escalates dramatically for coins in superb condition. The auction record for a standard, non-error 1997 D quarter is $1,708.88, achieved in 2019 by a needle-sharp specimen graded MS68 by PCGS. However, this is where the story becomes even more intriguing. Coins in MS67 grade can sell for around $40 to $60. But stepping up one grade to MS68 represents a colossal leap in value, creating the ghost rarity that collectors chase. Further fueling this rarity is the historical context of the time. The 1982 and 1983 Washington quarters are known to be scarce in uncirculated grades because no official mint sets were produced, and the recession caused collectors to spend their rolls. This highlights that even high-mintage modern coins can have supply bottlenecks at the very top of the condition spectrum. The 1997 D, like its 1982 and 1983 counterparts, proves that true scarcity can be found in quality, not just age. Beyond the standard strike, mint errors are a major driver of value. The 1997 D quarter is known to have a variety of these happy accidents. Off-center strikes, where the coin is struck improperly on the planchet, can be valuable, with a 20% off-center error selling for $103. A much rarer error is the missing clad layer, where one of the outer copper-nickel layers is absent, exposing the copper core and giving the coin a distinctive brassy appearance. An example of this in MS64 sold for $132. However, the most significant errors in the Washington quarter series are the legendary mules, coins struck with mismatched dies. The most famous is a double denomination error, but the mule struck with two reverse dies, colloquially known as a two-tailed quarter, is an extreme rarity. With only a handful of these known to exist, one such specimen, a previously unknown and newly discovered example, graded MS64, sold for a staggering $84,000. This highlights that while the $843,000 valuation mentioned earlier may be aspirational for a 1997 D Washington quarter, it underscores the immense potential of mint errors and the sky-high valuations they can command in the right market. In conclusion, the 1997 D Washington quarter is a prime example of modern numismatics, where the ordinary can become extraordinary. The value of this coin hinges on a captivating interplay of high-grade condition, rare mint errors, and market demand. For collectors and enthusiasts, the hunt for a pristine MS68 specimen or a dramatic off-center strike continues, proving that hidden wealth can indeed be found in pocket change, waiting for the sharp eye of a discerning collector to unlock its true potential.